The night had already settled across the blocky city, blanketing the square-shaped buildings in silence. Most of the shops had long since closed, their neon cube signs dimmed, leaving the streets empty except for the occasional passing cart. Yet, within one small restaurant tucked between two blocky apartment towers, the light continued to burn. The kitchen buzzed with faint sounds, the hum of the refrigerator, the flickering buzz of a ceiling lamp, the scratching of a pencil on paper. Sunny sat at a wooden counter, her short dark blue hair falling across her face as she leaned over a thick stack of food inventory lists. Her yellow blouse was wrinkled from the long day, and her blue skirt had flour stains across the hem. Her tired eyes scanned each line carefully, whispering under her breath as if she were chanting a spell. Block burgers. Check. Cube lettuce. Almost out. Cheese blocks. We'll need at least 50 tomorrow. Her voice grew softer, almost as if she was talking to herself, a rhythm to keep her from collapsing from exhaustion. Tomorrow was the annual Blocky Food Festival, the event where restaurants from all over town competed to impress judges and customers alike. For Sunny and her small team, it was their one chance to prove that their humble place deserved recognition. "We have to prepare for tomorrow's food festival. We have to," she whispered again, gripping the pencil so tightly her knuckles turned pale. On the floor beside her lay ink, the black Shiba dog with sharp eyebrow dots and a shiny red tag. "That's simply red ink," he watched her for a moment with half-lidded eyes, then rolled them dramatically, sighing like a disappointed parent. Or, he muttered sarcastically, his voice dripping with irony, "You could just sleep like normal people. Staying up won't magically turn burnt burgers into golden ones." Sunny froze, glanced down at him, and then sighed deeply. She wanted to laugh, but her chest was too heavy with worrying. Ink's words cut through her resolve because, deep down, she knew he was right. Still, her sense of duty pressed harder than the weight of her eyelids. Tomorrow wasn't just a festival, it was their chance at survival. So, even as fatigue wrapped around her like a thick blanket, she refused to let go of her pun. The clock ticked toward midnight. Outside, the street was silent. Inside, however, the restaurant was alive with tension, anticipation, and the faint smell of cube-shaped bread rising in the oven. It was the beginning of a very long night. Just as Sunny adjusted her papers, the quiet was shattered by the sound of loud footsteps and the creak of the kitchen door swinging open. Max burst into the room with his usual reckless energy, his red shirt slightly untucked and his black cap worn backward. His grin was so wide it seemed he hadn't noticed the exhaustion around him. "Don't worry, Sunny. With me on the job, everything's going to be perfect," he announced dramatically, slapping his chest. Ink groaned immediately, burying his face in his paws. Sunny tried to muster a smile. She had heard those words before, and they usually spelled disaster. Max grabbed a giant sack of cube-shaped flour from the shelf, swinging it over his shoulder as if it weighed nothing. He strutted toward the counter, his confidence radiating like a hero in an adventure. "First, we prep the dough for the block buns. Easy step one," he declared. But then his foot caught on a loose tile, and before Sunny could even warn him, the entire bag slipped from his grip. The kitchen exploded. White powder erupted like a snowstorm, coating the counters, the floor, and even the ceiling. Sunny coughed violently, waving her arms to clear the air, while Ink staggered back in disgust. "Is this cooking, or did we just summon a blizzard?" The dog barked. Max stood in the middle of the chaos, blinking through the flour covering his face, then burst out laughing. Okay, small accident. But that's what adventure is all about, unexpected surprises." Sunny buried her face in her hands. The festival was less than 12 hours away, and instead of progress, they now had a kitchen that looked like it had been attacked by a snow monster. She rushed to salvage what ingredients she could, stacking cube-shaped eggs and lettuce onto a tray, trying to bring order back. Max, however, only grew more energetic. He wiped flour from his cap and shouted, This is nothing. By the time I'm done, we'll have the best block buns anyone has ever tasted. Ink muttered under his breath. Or the worst disaster the festival's ever seen, Sunny couldn't decide which was more likely. While Sunny fought to restore order and Max confidently remade his mess, a quieter, more cunning danger lurked in the shadows. Milo, the orange and white blocky cat, had been watching the chaos from the top of a cupboard. His big, curious eyes sparkled under the kitchen lights, and his whiskers twitched as he spotted his target, a fresh plate of cube-shaped fish fillets, steaming softly on the counter. His tail flicked with excitement. He crouched low, muscles tense, and in one fluid leap, he pounced. Milo, Sunny cried, but it was too late. The cat clamped his teeth around one fish cube and darted away, tail high with triumph. He slinked under the table, chewing noisily, his purr echoing like a drum of satisfaction. 5 stars, absolutely 5 stars for me. Milo meowed through a mouthful, crumbs scattering everywhere. Max nearly dropped the spatula he was holding. Hey, that's for the judges tomorrow. He lunged forward, but Milo darted out of reach with practiced ease. Ink shook his head slowly, eyes narrowed. Told you, he's the real hazard here. Sunny's temples dropped. Between Max's disasters and Milo's thievery, the night was spinning further out of control. She bent down, trying to grab the cat, but Milo weaved between her legs and disappeared behind a stack of crates. His glowing eyes peeked out mischievously from the shadows, daring them to try again. The smell of stolen fish lingered in the air, reminding Sunny that every missing piece of food was one last dish they could serve tomorrow. Exhaustion deepened her worrying. Could they really pull this off? Hours slipped away, the kitchen filled with the rhythm of frantic footsteps, clattering pans, and frustrated sighs. Outside, the black sky slowly gave way to pale morning light, creeping into the restaurant through the windows. The kitchen was a battlefield half prepared. Block burgers stacked unevenly on trays, cube-shaped cheese toppled across the counter, and lettuce blocks rolling onto the floor. The once organized space had turned into a chaotic war zone of food. Sunny sat slumped in her chair, her inventory list now crumpled in her hands. Her dark blue hair clung to her forehead, damp with sweat. She forced her tired eyes open, placing one last block burger onto a tray. Her fingers trembled, but her determination kept her moving. Beside her, Max was a flour-covered mess, looking more like a snowman than a chef. Yet his trademark grin remained, as if chaos only made him stronger. "We'll make it. You'll see," he said, his voice confident even through his exhaustion. Ink, for all his sarcasm, had finally pitched in. He pushed a broom awkwardly with his paws, sweeping flour into small piles. "Don't say I never help," he muttered, though his expression showed he'd rather be anywhere else. Milo, of course, perched proudly on the counter, licking his paws after devouring yet another stolen snack, blissfully unaware of the stress he caused. Sunny's voice was barely a whisper. "Can we really do this?" She wasn't asking Max, Ink, or Milo, she was asking herself. But Max answered anyway. He gave her a thumbs up, his eyes gleaming with stubborn determination. "Of course we can. We're the best blocky restaurant this town has ever seen." For a moment, Sunny smiled, small but genuine. The chaos, the fatigue, the failures, they didn't matter as much when she remembered she wasn't alone. They had survived the night together, and now dawn was here. The food festival was waiting, and though success wasn't guaranteed, one thing was certain: their story was far from over.